If you're wondering what kind of programs to run right now and what kind of pricing to charge in this very moment in time, then you are probably not alone. I'm Lisa Princik. I'm a business strategist and membership coach, and I'm going to dive into some of the pricing psychology today to help you make good decisions about what you should be charging for your programs. Now, I'm going to be talking about this in the context a little bit of memberships and just programs in general, and share more about my experience lately of what's been working really well for me. And I'm going to make the case that it might be a better time to charge a bit more than a bit less for your premium services. So let's dive in. Now, when the market leans out and sales decrease, people tend to freak out and think they need to start decreasing all their prices. There are people who come to me who have ideas about creating low ticket memberships and programs to serve their client base because they are afraid that people aren't going to be buying the higher ones that they've had. And that's never a really good reason to start a low ticket membership program or start pumping out a whole bunch of low ticket offers. Chances are that if you're stagnant in sales, you're going to find that you're going to be stagnant in sales in those categories as well. So instead of having less people buy your premium priced programs and maybe more hands-on ones, you're going to get less people buying the low ticket ones. You are not necessarily going to see an uptake in people buying from you just because you're decreasing your prices and offering more low ticket items. So if that's your train of thought, if that's the reason why you're thinking, maybe I should start a low ticket membership, this probably isn't a good time for it. Now might actually be a really good time to either increase your current pricing, of course, and offer more value for that, or develop some higher ticket programs that can really serve people. And here's why I'm going to suggest that. There are still a lot of people doing well in the world. And if you say charge $3,000 for a program or a service, you might get one or two buyers. But if you were to sell a program at, say, $750, you might still get one or two buyers. And what you've done is dramatically reduce the amount that you are earning all over because you're offering something that just does not bring in the same level of revenue. Even though you might be doing less work and it might take less time to offer something lower ticket, you will just not have as many people purchasing. And then you're just going to be out quite a bit of money. And that is an experience that I've found in the last little while, is that raising my prices over time has not deterred any people from buying from me. All it has done has brought in more qualified clients who are actually using me and using our work together and taking it more seriously, which has actually been more satisfying for me. I offer a couple different things. I offer a membership training program, which is kind of an all-in-one course plus access to my monthly coaching calls in the Scaling Deep Society, as well as VIP days, which are just really intensive strategy sessions that go on for a few hours with a month of follow-up support. And those have not reduced at all for me as my prices have raised. And this is because I am differentiating in the market by offering high value services that people who really need this help are coming to me for, and they really trust the value of the product, partially because it isn't priced so cheap. Now, the problem is when you do price really low is that you are going to either attract people who won't take it seriously, and they may come and try to get value out of it, but can't get value out of it because they weren't in a position to really invest. And therefore, they are having a challenge using it and getting the most out of it. And so when you tend to have higher prices, you're going to attract people who are like, I know it's going to cost me this amount of money to get value out of this. I know if I was to pay half of that value or a quarter of that value, it probably wouldn't be a really impactful service. And they have enough experience in their life to understand how to make those decisions on what to buy and what it'll do for them. And they are evaluating partly of what you are selling against the price point that you are offering at. There is such a thing as too good to be true. If you buy something and you're paying next to nothing and it was one of the best investments you've ever made, It could be an anomaly. It's often not the case. Sometimes, if it's too good to be true, it simply wasn't as good as you thought it would be. And that's why a lot of people don't trust super low ticket, big promised outcomes, because that is a bit of a bait and switch thing, as many of us have experienced. And some people don't want that. So, by having a higher ticket membership program or service program, you're going to be able to really get into the details and provide some measurable support for people, no matter what industry you're in, whether you're helping people with their personal well-being and health, and they need not only just the instructions on how, but they actually need ample space for trial and error and Q&A, and just feeling supported and encouraged to come back and keep trying things. That's going to go really far. They may not take up all of your time. They likely won't, because they don't have that time either, but they are going to feel more supported and probably get a little further on if they know they have high touch access available to them. So you can charge for that. It's not going to take up all of your time to deliver, but they'll feel safer in making that decision than spending maybe, say, half that, or again, I mentioned a third of that. But the systems aren't in place to really reinforce that it's going to get them further faster, which is what most people are paying for any type of service, is getting further much faster. So if you're in a position where you were thinking about, say, launching a membership or a program, I want you to reflect back on the history of the things that you have been selling successfully and double down on selling those, especially if they're slightly higher ticket and not in that really low ticket, like under $50 a month or a few $100s for a one-off. I would really consider doubling down on those programs. Make them amazing. Put your energy and effort into selling those. Even if you get less people, it's going to make a big difference in your overall revenue because they are higher price. So making sure that the customer and client satisfaction is really high. Make sure that they're giving ample opportunity to get access to you and to learn new things and get inspired to take action, as that is also really valuable for your feeling good about the program and selling it and feeling confident when you sell it, and also them feeling really good about their purchase. And that whole thing just feeds on a cycle of positivity, which will get great testimonials, which will attract more people, and so on. And the next thing you know, you're really feeling good about what you're selling, and you're feeling confident that you're actually giving people a great deal for what they're getting. So the main outcome here is that you're going to be getting, as I mentioned, those really serious clients who get a lot from it. And secondly, you're going to be able to grow your confidence because you are starting to get real results for people. You're going to be working with the kind of people who are going to get those results, and that's going to grow your confidence. And when you are in front of the next person who's purchasing from you, you're going to give off that energy of, yes, I know I can help you because this really works. And if you are serious about this, I can help you. And that is going to also help you make more sales of doing the thing that you're meant to do. And that is super important because this confidence cycle feeds on itself. You get a great client, the client appreciates working with you and gets good results. You then get more confident to get more good clients. And that is going to really help you develop something that is thriving. Now, I want to really iterate here that I'm not talking about just charging the maximum amount. I don't love the smoke and mirrors thing. I really don't like people to feel like they are investing in a hope and a dream, because I feel like at the end of the day, that could potentially collapse. So I'm not saying create something unsustainable and based on a lot of hype, because that could backfire. So if you are somebody who has a lot of integrity and doesn't want to just sell something that could potentially get a result for people, but likely won't, and only will for a few percentage, like maybe 30% or 50% or less of the people who take that program, then you want to make sure that you are feeling like you can handle that kind of potential negative feedback if people are consistently not getting results and you didn't even have the bandwidth to be able to deliver more for them. Then you want to make sure that you're not creating that, I'm going to charge the top for like premium, just get on the call with me and it's going to cost you thousands of dollars. You don't have to do until you're at that place. And you'll know when you're there, and you'll know when 5 minutes of your time makes massive amounts of difference in their life. But if you're not there yet, don't necessarily just blindly do that. But what I do suggest is eking up your rates every quarter to 6 months. Every time you start to feel momentum and more confident about who you're trying to attract and what you can do for them and getting those actual real-time case study and results, that's when I want you to start looking at the other competitor programs out there. That's when I want you to have a chat with ChatGPT and ask about competitive pricing. So you can make sure that you're not undercharging for what you're doing, especially as your ability to help people and your experience grows. You need to keep up with the pace of that in your industry. So raising them regardless of what's going on in the world is important for you to do because there's inflation, there's all kinds of reasons to do it, but it's also reflective of your experience and ability. And I never, ever want people to miss out on that. So when it comes down to creating programs, for example, memberships, I would consider what kind of person are you selling to now? And what kind of buyers do you have? Who do you work with well? I think a lot of people will invest in premium level programs because, again, they'll just trust that they'll get more results out of that and they will show up more and do the work. And what we sometimes think is that with lower ticket courses and memberships, that people will just stay longer. But in fact, right now, people are being very cautious of what they're spending. And if they're investing in something really low ticket in the first place and hoping to get as much out of it as possible, they're going to be very discretionary about that purchase because they obviously are in a place where they have to be cautious about what they spend. Instead of spending extra on the shortcut with the higher level service to get them to their result they're looking for, they invested in the lower ticket option. And that likely means that they have just less to spend. And that's where they're still going to be picky about whether they're using it or not. So I would highly suggest that you create some kind of program, whether it's a continuity membership where they're purchasing it after another robust program to keep their learning going. They've got a relationship with you, especially if it includes ongoing access and coaching, even if it's group, that they'll show up when they spend a significant enough amount on it. They're going to show up and continue to get results. And the people who are spending $20, $30, $40, they're going to be looking at that every month and going, that's not enough to get me to show up on those calls. And I'm also not using it, so I'm going to get out. And that's not necessarily the right time in the economy to be playing in that arena because there's just less to go around and there's less people taking the leap in the first place. So why not skip all of that and go to the people who are doing well? There's still industries that are doing well. There's still people who are doing really well and they have money to spend and they want to spend it on the right thing. Pricing is often about positioning, and positioning yourself as one of the experts in your subject in the world is going to be reflective of that. So you want to make sure that you are also deciding where you want to sit in the market. And if you want to be at the premium level, then make that your strategy and figure out a plan to get you there. Now, I say all this, and I also do believe that we need the skills to back up our pricing and our promises. And I told this story in the last episode where I became a life coach way back when and loved working with small businesses. Those were my favorite clients, the people who I wanted to help the most. And I loved the action taking level. But I also dabbled in that for a few years and did it more from a life coaching perspective where I helped them take steps and I gave them the confidence to figure things out. But I also realized that I lacked some of the actual tools to help them analyze things like their business model, their current situation, and really dive into more of the numbers, more of the benchmarks, more of those concrete things that would help them really understand like how to make good decisions in a lot of different ways. I had the mental psychological stuff down pat, but I was looking for a few more tools. So after years of doing that, I came across an amazing business strategist training program, and it was the first major investment I made in my business. So I took the leap and joined that, and it changed things forever for me. I went through months of training where I learned tools to work with business owners and figure out how exactly I can help them, how I could help them diagnose their real problems, what the winning formulas were for successful online businesses and even offline businesses. And I filled in all of the gaps that I had with some real concrete information that allowed me to go out into the world and be more confident designing programs that I knew would work really well for people. And that turned into my VIP days, which I'm now offering for the 8th year in a row. Highly effective, short time together with the tools that'll help them figure out what's not working well, what is working well, and how to make a plan from there. And that was one of the best things that I did. And I know a lot of people tend to get overeducated in their industry and keep taking course after course and training after training to increase their certificates and accolades and letters after their name in order to feel legit, like they can deliver on what they're promising people. I'm not recommending that people get more and more of that, but I do think there is a set of skills, especially when it comes to helping mentor and train other business owners, that is not often taught in the world, because we do not need complex degrees for the scrappy, fast-paced online business industry. So that's the gap that I want to fill right now. I'm putting together a hands-on mentoring and training program to teach people how to become effective, efficient, highly sought after, and highly paid business strategists. This program is perfect for anyone who's a coach or consultant or even marketer who wants to learn more skills to bring it all together so they can really effectively dissect a business model and help their business owners in ways that might go beyond one specific part of their business. Seeing the big picture is really important. And when you have a 1 or 2 or 5 skill sets in one area, it can really help you to see what's going on in the business in general so that you can get the information you need to figure out what is the most effective path forward for them. It made a massive difference for me because I actually had real tools, real worksheets, ways of looking at information. I was trained to think like a strategist. I was trained to see the strategic opportunities. And then it just needed to start working with people more and more and practice until it became just a natural thing for me to do. So if this is interesting to you, I want you to apply. Head over to scalingdeep.com/strategist. There's a quick application form. And right now, I just want to get into conversations with people who are interested in hearing more. And I can find out more what you're looking for, because I think this is what's going to fill the huge gap in the world right now. Critical thinking, strategic thinking, and helping people think long term, and instead of just chasing bright, shiny objects and then throwing out tactics and then bringing in new ones as fast as they can and just running into the same walls every day. You can make a measurable difference doing this work like I do and get to a place where you really have created the flexible, freedom-filled business that is very impactful and also very fulfilling. So I'd love to hear from you. Hit up scalingdeep.com/strategist to find out more details, and I hope to see you on a call real soon. Bye for now.